Hello again, it's Maggie here. Latest edition of The Vocal Human. I hope you've all been well since I last spoke to you. It's been a difficult past few days for people who value freedom and democracy, in the United States particularly. Um, it's I think the first presidential debate that took place on Thursday, just gone, came as a shock to a lot of people. They were expecting one result, one clear distinction between the two participants, and unfortunately, it cannot be avoided that President Biden had a bad debate. Um, Unfortunately, he didn't do what was necessary. He didn't show up effectively, um, and it was a shock. Um, Now, the thing is that having them being able to take a breath and think about it, we have to look at it from the point of view that he has done a fantastic job over the last few years being president and done a lot of things that have done things for the country that are just amazing. And he's clearly himself capable of doing the job of president and has surrounded himself with a lot of very capable people who will support him in doing that. And we can't afford to just cast him aside because of one bad performance. And he's been there looking after us for these few years. And I think it's the last thing that we should do is just cast him aside because of one bad night. When he needs us, we should be there for him. So once you had a chance to take stock and think about that, then, you think, right, let's redouble our efforts, let's go forward and make this work. So we're just getting over that. And then, of course, we got the Supreme Court decision about presidential immunity, and that was even more of a shock because I would predict that the majority of people who value freedom and democracy never thought for 1 minute that anyone would entertain the thought of granting complete immunity for criminal acts of the president. I'm recording this on the day before the 4th of July, and tomorrow people are rightly going to be celebrating the birth of the American experiment, one of the most ambitious attempts at creating a democratic nation, and the whole point of which was breaking away from a monarchy which at the time was very much centered on the will of one man, the king, and the country desired something different than that. They wanted to have the power to influence their own futures, not to be dictated to by one person. And that was at the heart of everything that is the American experiment. And they then divulge power to the president, but the president is elected, and therefore it's an expression of the people's wishes. It is extremely ironic that the Supreme Court's decision has effectively returned power, potentially, to one person. We're basically seeing the complete disposal of the last nearly 250 years as saying it's been a failure, we don't think we want that anymore, and we'll return to effectively a monarchy, but definitely a dictatorship where all the power is in one person's hand and they can do whatever the hell they like. And I think it would be a challenge for any thinking person, frankly, to see that as anything other than extremely damaging and extremely frightening. I would ask everyone who's going to be celebrating tomorrow, the 4th of July, for all the things that they rightly hold dear about America, the things that they are proud of, the things that they rely on: freedom, democracy, the right to express opinions, the right to just be who you are. All those things people have taken for granted. And we show our support and celebration of those things by flying the flag, the fireworks, the parades, all of that. And there is the very real possibility that if things go one way in November, that you will never, ever be able to celebrate the 4th of July that way ever again. Because you think about it, at the beginning of the rallies for Donald Trump and the supposedly Republican Party, which is unfortunately now extinct, it's now just the MAGA brigade, should we say, they have alternative flags. They've changed the national anthem, they've changed the words on that, and they worship is one word, definitely follow and pledge allegiance to one person. It's not a pledge of allegiance to the flag anymore. It's a pledge of allegiance to one man. It's a dictatorship or a monarchy. So next year for the 4th of July, you may well be involved or seeing other flags, other national anthems, and pledging allegiances to completely different things. All those freedoms that you celebrated, all those things that you loved so much about your country, will no longer be there. Now you might say, oh, that's impossible, that's not true. Look at what they're talking about. They're telling you what they're going to do. It's no secret. Normally, if elections don't go the way you want them to, you will be complaining over your cornflakes. Potentially, in future, if elections don't go the way you want them to, assuming there's elections at all, you may well be complaining in a line of people being sent to some form of detention camp. And you think that's far-fetched? They're already talking about mass deportations of immigrants, and how specific are they going to be about who's here illegally and who's not? They're going to round up their political opponents, people who disagree with them, people who have maybe mental problems, intellectuals. Anybody they don't like, they will round up. You won't have free news and opinion anymore. That'll be censored. Look back in history and you'll see that's exactly what will happen. And we have one shot left to change this, one, and that's November. Everybody has to wake up and do what is necessary in November to save what they hold dear. If you hold America, the USA, and all its values dear, you have to stand up for it and vote for it. Because if you don't, you may not have the chance again. Sorry to be so serious, but that's the way it is. So that's it for now. If you like this, then please give it some thumbs up. I invite comments. Hopefully they'll be positive ones. Follow or subscribe if you like it, but please take this seriously. Okay? All right. Bye for now. Bye.